Hello everybody, this is Seto Kaiba from your Yu-Gi-Oh chat channel, and today I'm going to profile for you guys because I was asked to profile this deck about a week or two ago when I posted one of my videos, is my Exodia deck. Now this is a traditional format Exodia deck, but before you turn off this video, because I just said that, there are some cards in this deck that you may want to consider if you run Exodia in competitive play, because there are cards in this deck that can be run competitively and be very effective with an Exodia deck. So you may find some new combos to add to your deck. Secondly, I don't have all the cards that I want for this deck. So I don't have 3 Golden Sarks. I only have 1. Okay? So I have to work with that 1 Golden Sark. I used to run Exodia back when Exodia first came out, so I know what I sold a lot of the cards off through the years, and I only have 1 left. But let's get started on this deck profile, and I'll talk as I go along. But I'll explain to you some of the cards. I'll point the cards out that you could use for real format play. There we go. So we got Exodia, the Forbidden Lord. I always liked that he had the spellbinding circle like that around him. But when I was little, I was like, this doesn't make sense. What's supposed to be here? And I made some funny jokes about what could be there. But that's Exodia, the Forbidden One. That's the 5-piece of Exodia. You get all those cards in your hand, you win the duel. You have your 3 star cards. Spirit Reaper. You can also use Marshmallow. It's no big deal, but I use my Marshmallows for my burn deck. Just remember, this is a low-budget Exodia traditional format deck. Now, here's one of the cards that you may want to think about if you play competitive Exodia. I only have 2 of them. I'm probably going to buy another one because they're pretty cheap. It's called Emissary. I'll read it to you. It's called Emissary of the Afterlife. And I'll show you the card, and then I'm going to read it to you guys. So that's what it's called, Emissary of the Afterlife. It's a fiend, and it has an effect. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, so it doesn't have to be destroyed by battle, each player selects 1 level 3 or lower normal monster from his or her deck and adds it to his or her hand after showing it to the opponent. The decks are then shuffled. So the thing I find about this card is, who the heck runs nowadays normal level monsters 1 through 3, okay? No, I doubt your opponent is ever going to run a normal monster that's 1 or 3. So it's pretty much like a Sangan for all the Exodia pieces except the head, which is not bad. That's really not bad. That's 4 cards pretty much you're targeting in your deck. And this has won me games, and it has 16 attack. So it's not a bad card, and I would suggest to look into that card if you run Exodia. 2 Cyber Valleys. I only own 2. I may get a 3rd if I start building a Cyber Valley deck. I don't know. But 2 Cyber Valleys, good card. Makes your opponent think. Ends the battle phase. Very helpful. 2 Royal Libraries. I'm playing with 2 instead of 3. I've tried 3. Just a little too much. 2 seems to be better. 2 Skagekis are old card. Put face down, flip up, draw 1 card. Simple like that. Not bad. The original Big Eye. This is the original Big Eye. Literally, people see it says Big Eye. This is the original Big Eye. Pretty much what this card does is, if it's flipped faced up, I get to organize in any order the next top 5 cards in my deck. Can single-handedly get the last piece of Exodia in your hand to win the game. Now we get to the banned cards, okay? Witch, Sangan, the original boyfriend-girlfriend of Yu-Gi-Oh! Magician of Faith. We run 1 of. Now this is another good card I like for Exodia because it really can mess up. It's like a compulsory evacuation device. Say your opponent's committing to the board too much. You throw Penguin Soldier down. You flip Penguin Soldier up. You bounce their monsters, and now they're like, ugh, ugh. Just Penguin Soldier is a good card, and I think people forget how good this card is. It's like 2 compulsory evacuation devices in 1. Very good card. 1 Trag. Say I have a bunch of Exodia pieces in my hand. Drop Trag. I've had this guy be up to like a 3,000 defender, a 360 defender. You can use him as a beat stick too. So it doesn't make your Exodia deck all defense. You can go on the attack too. 3 swords of revealing light. We're getting into the spells now. 3 swords. 2 upstart goblin. I run 3, but the other one is in my Dark World deck. Okay, so that's what the third one is. 1 Day of Peace. Got sad when this got hit, but I understand why. But good card, very good draw card. But remember, this traditional format, so I gotta run 1. Pot of Avarice, good card. We use all your busted cards. My 1 gold Sark that I own, I abuse this very much. You may saw that when I had in my hand. Regeki Break. Yes! Busted. You think cards are busted now? This card is the original, one of the original busted cards of Yu-Gi-Oh! Regeki Break. Destroy all monsters your opponent controls. No bad effects. Just destroy all your opponent's monsters. It's just so fun to play that card. So like, oh my gosh, that's such an old card. 1 Pod Duality. The other one's in my Gravekeeper deck, but I run 2 sometimes. If I'm going to a tournament and going to play people. Pot of Greed. Greed is good. The old Pot of Greed. I run 1 of because it's traditional. 1 Dark Door. Really a useful card. Especially if you're running a stall deck out there. If you run any type of stall deck, look into this card. It's an old card, the Dark Door. Your opponent and you can only attack once per turn. If you're pretty much basing a stall type deck, that's a good card. Here's another busted card, Harpy's Feathers Duster. So you think Regeki Break was busted? Okay, I know spell traps not a big thing right now, but imagine this: your opponent sets 5 back row. Instead of using Heavy Storm and maybe hurting you, use Harpy's Feathers Duster. Destroys all your opponent's trap cards and spell cards on the field. Awesome. This card you may want to think also if you run Exodia. Say I run Exodia, and say I want to reuse my gold Sarks or stuff like that. I use Recycle. Use Recycle. By paying 300, just 300, 300, I get to add that 1 card back into my hand. So I can reuse Regeki Break. I can reuse Monster Reborn. I can use Golden Sarks. Not a bad card, really. Monster Reborn. I run 1. Now, I've run 1 because of multiple reasons. I have 5 searchers in the deck. So say they killed a Sangan already. I use Monster Reborn the Sangan, kill it, get the last piece of Exodia. Just a lot of good combos. And I would also suggest this, because I even ran this back during the old days, that you may want to consider running this in an Exodia deck, because it can be very helpful. Say if I was running Impresario of the Darkness, I just, do that. And traps, we have only 3, but 2 defense draw comes in handy a lot. And 1 Jar of Greed. I only run 1 because I got enough draw power. Really, I may switch 1 defense draw out for another Jar of Greed. I just don't know yet. I'm still thinking, but that's an old hollow Jar of Greed. But that is my traditional format Exodia deck that I run. Now, like you probably might say, ugh, that's disgusting. It's no good. It's got broken cards in it. I don't want to make it so broken that nobody's going to ever want to play me with Exodia again. Okay? So that's why. Okay? But this is a fun deck to play. It's very cheap. I would say this deck is really not that expensive to make. Exodia has gotten reprints since the beginning, so he's pretty easy to get a hold of. I mean, if you want to run a competitive Exodia deck, those decks run about $50, $60, $70, I think. But I don't want to invest in Exodia. I don't like touching myself. I don't like touching myself with Exodia. It's just weird. I like being more interactive with my opponent, attacking, defending. So that's why I don't run Exodia that much anymore. But that's just my old take on an old favorite Exodia deck. So till next time, everybody, take care, have fun dueling, and adios, amigoses. Seto Kaiba, out.